Sometimes I wish that our viewers could watch us in the green room during that opening sequence because I'm sitting there doing.
I think that they would get a kick out of it. I think
I,
they would, but sometimes I think that they would probably like, what the heck is she doing? Why is she doing that? It's like, whoa, this woman's crazy. We all know I'm crazy, so it's
we,
okay.
we we know you're crazy, and I'm gonna do something here real quick. I'm going
Okay.
to, so people can see the beautiful birthday girl. Happy birthday!
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes,
And
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 and here's my thing. I was gonna say, everyone's like, oh, happy 29th birthday, happy whatever. I am proud of my age because A, I don't think I look my age. I've been told I don't look my age. And B, I really don't care if you know my age. I mean, I'm happy because I think the older I get, the better I get. I'm like wine. So
I'm so glad that I got out of the doghouse with the picture that I showed.
I was like, really? Like, here's my thing. All my other peeps, and I do want to say this. If you have wished me a happy birthday on social media, like I have been overwhelmed. I am beyond blessed because it is insane about, over 50 messages in my inboxes. And that's just on one platform. Then I had like another 20 plus. Then I had another like 40 plus. So I am feeling the love. I'm sorry I have not gotten back to you. I have been at work. My goal is to respond to everyone. I did that last year because if you took the time to wish me a happy birthday, I feel it's important to respond. So thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. I do appreciate it big time. But yeah, like out of all the pictures, I was like, that's what I feel like. I was like, that, yeah. But if someone took a steal of that, I'm sure I'm gonna
I,
get that. So
I didn't notice the facial expression until after you had said something. I just saw you there in your cowboy hat, and I thought, this was a big day for us,
yeah, it
and
was.
and
Well, and I
it
figured that.
represented you. It
Yeah.
represented you. I mean, I
You,
didn't
you
want to
could
do
have done the
this.
Chaz picture. You could have done the one where I was standing and smiling with Chaz, but no, you didn't.
I could have. I grabbed
You
it
could
off
have
of your wall.
done Hooten and Young. You could have done
Well, I
my
mean,
profile pics,
it was
the
on
pictures
your
of us.
which came up in one of my memories. I was like, I should have done that
Oh,
picture,
yeah, yeah.
but hey,
But I was tagged in that. But it's my thing. It was a live action thing, and I'm not gonna be hating because like even if not my
yep, I gotta agree. I
yes,
mean, even Mother
yeah,
Nature wants to wish you a happy
yeah.
birthday with these two
For
days
the
of cooler Texas
yes,
weather.
I
Yes,
was yes. Mother Nature loves me, so thank you. But here's my thing: if you edit in, I want to say catfish every picture, and it has to be a perfect picture, then you're not showing your real you. And I don't do that. So what you
well,
see is
see,
what you get.
and I wasn't gonna go with the fishnet picture because one of the fishnet pictures because I thought that
Mhm.
would be too easy to do. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, go and grab the latest picture that you did that has pictures, fishnet, and you're looking down and you got your cigar. All right, everybody can go out and
Yeah.
see that picture of you.
Yeah.
So it's
Because
just
that
like,
one's just,
no,
it's my profile. And that one was actually a selfie. That was one of my favorite selfies that I took. I took it up here.
you do pretty good at that. Well, anyways, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I know you work today, but I hope that you feel feel and felt so throughout this entire show. This pairing is
Thank
all
you.
about you because this is, I mean, it's one of your favorite cigars. In fact, I remember
It
when we
is.
walked into Cigar Art and you were
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh my God, Graybeard, they've got this cigar. We have got to get one." And so we did. And both
Mm-hmm.
of our cellos, I mean, that is some intense color.
Yeah. Like I'm sitting here now, I gotta find my cello because I don't know what I did with it. I'll find it here in a minute. Oh, there it is. There it is. Um, and here's the thing: is I actually snapped the last box that is ever in existence.
Yeah,
So
so you
you
can't even
can't
get
get these.
these anymore.
No.
So we've got Joey G saying happy birthday,
Aw, thank you.
and we have Miss Tiffany saying happy birthday all the way from
Aw,
Pennsylvania.
thank y'all.
But we are also pairing this with something that you've been wanting to pair for
And you've never
quite some
had it.
time. And I've never had. Now I will say that I cheated, and I've had a sip of it, and I was just like, "Oh my God, this is so good." But we've
Hmm.
got it with a. Get yours. Get yours.
Oh, okay. Mine's prettier. Do you want me to do
Yours
my
is
big
prettier.
picture or my wine glass? I'll do
No,
my
your
wine glass
glass.
first.
Let's. Hers is much prettier than mine. It's got those red fruits, but I do have fruits in there. So this is our pairing, and check this out. As promised, Joey G stepped up to the challenge. He's drinking a red bourbon barrel aged wine. So thank you,
So
brother,
proud
for
of
stepping up to the
you.
challenge. Yes. Now,
Thank you.
what are you smoking with it? That's
Yeah,
the
that was my
question.
question. Is like, what are you gonna smoke with that? I'm curious to see what he puts with that. Um, so white sangria, I want to go to that because like, a lot of times, because that's what we're having, and there's different ways you can make it. I did it with. I've never done it with the sparkling soda, so I wanted to kind of do something different. Normally, I do it with brandy, and it is phenomenal when you mix it. So most people go with red sangria, and so that's what most people go with. Summer, I've said this on this show. I've expressed it. I'm not a big white wine fan, you know, and that's okay. But a white sangria on a summer hot day is freaking
Like today?
phenomenal.
Like today?
Yeah,
Well,
and
I
so
I
this
went.
is the wine I'm using, and
I
my thing is,
almost picked up that bottle.
you
Almost. I
shut up.
saw it
Which one
sitting
did you
there.
pick up?
I'd have to go in and get and grab the bottle, which
Okay.
I may on our go and grab it on our little
Mm,
break. It
yeah.
is a Spanish white, and it's from grapes that I have never seen before, so I'm excited about that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. If it's the one that I'm thinking of and the one that I almost grabbed because I saw it was grapes that I'd never seen, I'm gonna like lose my stuff because I want to see how it is.
It
But I
is
went
a
with it.
it was a green bottle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
All
So
right, keep on talking.
so
Keep on
I wanted
talking.
to go with a traditional a Spanish wine and one that was like traditional for it. So whenever you're getting a white sangria, it's always good to go because to get from Spain because that's where the best ones white sangrias come from Spain.
Well, and
So there you
that's where
go.
it originated from too, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, and that's what I was saying. That's where it came from. Was that's what I meant originated. Then you also put in triple sec,
Now, see,
like an orange.
I didn't go with triple sec with mine. I went with Grand Marnier. So I
Okay,
went with the Grand Marnier,
yeah.
which is has cognac in it,
Mhm.
but it is an orange liqueur.
Yeah.
So that's what I went with.
And some and people do the brandy to kind of get the peach. Yeah, I almost went with that one because I was like, that would be interesting.
So
So I'm
so this
curious
is
to
a
know.
90. It's a 95% via Viura and 5% Malvasia. Both grown in the highest and sunniest parts of the vineyards, and this is a Rioja Albesa.
Hmm,
Now, I'll admit I don't know as lot about Spanish wines because through my Psalms uh, I've studied more of
Italian and
The
world.
French and Italian wines.
Yeah.
Well, French and Italians, and then Paso Robles. In fact, I published an article, or I published something just the other day, a
Hmm.
challenge to people on our Instagram page and LinkedIn page and our Facebook page of what would you pair with a red blend from Paso Robles that the only grape that you know that's in it is a Petit Verdot. And one person came back and guessed that this was a Bordeaux blend, as a Bordeaux style blend from Paso Robles, which Paso Robles is doing really good with it. So it was interesting the different comments that, and
Hmm.
discussions that got back on it. Had it on our Discord channel too, and so we had some discussion there. But anyways, it's not about that. Let's come into
So
this.
I want to kind of go into the cigar. So
Yes.
this cigar is was created by the one of the owners of Cigar Arts. They actually have the copyright to the blend. And the reason after during COVID is the factory that created the leaf for the wrapper, binder, and filler is no longer in existence. So therefore, this leaf was only produced at that farm, and you, there's no more seed for it. There's nothing. So that's why you can't have the cigar anymore. So it was really sad. So it is called La Bella. Let me see. I always say her name is like Olivia, or like that. So if you look at this lady, she was actually like a mistress to all these kings, princesses. She just kind of like when she got bored with one man, she went with another royalty. She got bored with that one, she went to another royalty. She was with czars, generals, counts, dukes, whatever. And like uh, a sugar baby, a prostitute, it's like whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah, all the above.
all the above. But if you read her history, it's really interesting, and it's kind of sad because she was at the time she kind of was risque, and she showed skin, and she was an actress, and you weren't supposed to show skin, so she was very risque about it. But if the reason I love the cigar, because someone was like, "Why do you love the cigar this much? Why is this one of your favorites?" If you've ever smoked a pre-embargo Cuban, you're going to know that that cigar has floral taste to it. It's got flower notes. That's the best thing to describe it. Honeysuckle, plum, floral, fruity notes to it. Um,
Fresh cut alfalfa, hay.
yeah, hey, all that.
Those really floral, grassy notes too. So yeah,
And that's a lot of, I know it's like a lot of people say, oh, that's just one area of Cuba. But if you go back and you look at it and you see how they really took care of the land, that was basically almost all of Cuba, you know. And as time has gone on, there's only like one area that really has dedicated itself, and it's the Qual d'Orsay, but it's not of the quality of what a pre-embargo cigar has. Um, so,
the wrappers were pristine. There was no
mhm,
toothiness, no veins. You could barely see the seams and where they were
yes,
rolled too, because the wrappers
right,
were just so pristine and rolled
hmm,
extremely tight.
right,
Very, very, very tight draws on them.
yes, and but the construction on it, everything was an amazing smoke.
Top
Uh,
notch, yeah.
yes. And the thing is I've been very blessed to where I've had a pre-embargo Cuban cigar, and so I know that like a lot of people are like, well, how do you know that? Well, it's because I've had one. Um, and this is what the cigar reminds me of. It is beautiful. If it also has a kick to it in some areas, some spiciness. So like if I had to have like a cigar, blend one, make one, I would want it to be exactly like this. Because I think it embodies my personality um, and spirit. But it also pairs really well with wines and coffees and um, your higher
Now,
end, like your
this
bourbons
is
and stuff.
my first time smoking this because remember we bought this together. I think 2.5 years
Two
ago
and a half
at
years ago.
Cigar Art. You were like astonished that they still had some there. We grabbed the last two of the ones that they had, and then I think you said you went back later and was able to get a box, the last box that they had.
Yeah, and the thing was they found some, like they had some that were somewhere else, and so that was the last of it. So but when you smell it, you get floral off of it.
Yes,
At,
I was
in
getting
the middle,
floral,
I was gonna say like right here on the second,
and
and
off of the foot, I was getting um, pipe tobacco off of it. So a really, that really fruity, sweet pipe tobacco,
hmm
that you generally
right,
get right, immediately off of just standard pipe tobacco.
yeah,
That I was getting that off of the nose on the foot. Uh, but the first draw on the cigar, wow! I mean, immediately just deep, deep, deep dark chocolate notes on the very first draw of it. Looking at Wikipedia here, so she was born in 1868,
yeah,
and died in 1965. So she was 96 years old, just based upon the date. Describes her
hmm
as a Spanish actress, a dancer, and a
hmm
courtesan. Had a reputation
that's a
for
nice way
great,
of saying that. Oh,
yes, a nice, very nice way of saying ho. Uh, had a reputation for great beauty and was famous for her numerous lovers.
yes. And they were all, and the thing is like she had a couple at one time, like a couple of princes, a court, or whatever. They didn't care because they were just in awe of her.
Well, I mean,
Mine is
this,
mine is closed fit. Is yours?
yeah, mine's close put to. Can you see
Okay.
that picture of her?
Yeah.
I
And if
mean,
you just
she's
look at the
absolutely
cigar,
beautiful. Yes,
look, I mean, just look at the band. I was like, who is this? I had to know.
she's a
So,
beautiful. La Bella Otero, or Madame Otero.
and it's fitting because she is from Spain. We're drinking Spanish white wine.
But the cigar is Nicaraguan. Do we know who blended and rolled it, or are they keeping that under wraps?
Oh, everything is under wraps. They will not say anything.
So don't know
So,
anything
yeah,
about the blend or anything on this.
yeah.
I'm
But I
I'm
can
gonna
tell it's got some Nicaraguan because of that spice.
I'm thinking that the wrapper is a San Andres. Just because of the chocolatey notes, especially right at the
Well,
front of it.
but the person said it all came from Nicaragua. That's all he would say. So,
Then it's a
who knows?
it's a Jalapa Valley
Yeah,
Habano. It's a Jalapa
yeah.
Valley
That's what I'm
Habano
thinking.
because but just because of the color and those and they're not bittery chocolatey notes. It's like a dark
Uh,
chocolate cream.
right. Billionaire, we'll get to your questions in a minute because first I want to kind of go down because you've asked a billion questions. Did you get that?
So
So
yes, we both added slices of fruits.
yes,
Red's is a little bit prettier than mine because she added strawberries and other more colorful ones.
I and that's why the color of my wine. Also, I want to add that. So I have raspberries, oranges, lemon, blackberries, blueberries, apples, plums. I added plums, and the thing was, no, I didn't add apples. Um, I kind
Wait,
of
hold. I gotta
okay,
stop you for something.
okay.
Something really important just came up. I got sorry. I really apologize, but
Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's a great day. That's what we say. Happy birthday to you.
Aw, thank y'all.
do you like how I did that?
That's, I was like, is he bringing someone on or like what's going on? Who knows what else today? He's like surprising me. Um, so anyway, so that's why my color is that. But because I knew about this, I smoked the cigar and I knew it had like a instead of like apple, I added a I wish I added cherries. Thank you. I appreciate it, everyone.
I wanted to get strawberries and raspberries and cherries and blueberries and elderberries and just all the berries that added to it, but I decided to go different. So I just added just straight peach, straight apple, and straight pears.
But see, your grape is different. So, like, I read the notes. You have in your wine, you had a lot of citrus and fruity notes already established in your wine.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
you had a ton of fruits in that wine. So sometimes I think with sangrias, you can get too fruity if where it overwhelms the wine, if that makes sense.
it makes absolute sense, and I will say I cheated, and I found the Somme at Total Wine, and I walked up to him, and he goes, I recognize you. You're asking me a question? I said, yeah, I don't know much about Spanish wines. Is this going to be good for a sangria? And he goes, are you going to full blown out Spanish sangria? And I said, yeah. And he goes, then that's a perfect wine for it. I was like, okay, because I didn't
And
want to mess it up. I mean, I've never done.
yeah,
That on this show is the first time I've ever done a sangria and I've ever done a spritzer. Or a spritz. So you know, we embody the explore the pairings.
I know. And like I've been getting you out into that little the thing. I was like, hey, let's do this, let's do this. But
I'm enjoying the cigar so much I haven't even started the pairing.
well, I was gonna ask you because there's white. You've had red sangrias? I know you've had red.
Oh
This
yes,
is
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
So
I've I've had it
which one
here and
are
then
you preferring? Like which one do you like? Well,
well,
you're not really drinking it, so I don't know if that's a fair
I
assessment.
mean my first sip on this I was really pleased with it. And now like you, I tend to lean more towards red wines. Uh, but I am really starting to enjoy white wines a bit more, especially as I explore grapes outside of
Hmm.
the Sauvignon Blanc and outside of the Chardonnay, and the Grigio, which are the predominantly known
Hmm.
whites. Um, I'm so far, yeah.
I'm gonna say that I really enjoy a Spanish white wine over a lot of the other wines. I'm just gonna say that. To me, it's a little bit more crisp. It's not, and I'm gonna say dry because I know it's not technically the right terminology.
No, it's you can absolutely call a
I
white
should
wine a
say,
dry.
okay. Um, to me, most white wines that you have, like your main ones that you were talking about, to me are too dry. Um,
I think the citrusy of them. really adds to that dryness. To me, it really amplifies it. And that's why if I'm
Right.
drinking a Chardonnay, I tend to go for a Chilean because they do theirs in an oak barrel, and I like
Yeah.
that. And or I go for a warmer region because then it brings out a little bit of the more hardiness of the grape, and so I get a little bit more
Mhm.
apple, pear, peach
Right.
flavors. I'm not a big fan of the grapefruit, lemon, lime flavors in my wines, and that's what the Chardonnay is known for.
Yeah. And but the interesting thing is like for Spanish wine, they are like they're big with all the flavors that you're talking about, with the grapefruit, the lemons, the apples. But to me, they're not as dry, and I don't know if it's because of the grape that's behind it, or the region of like where it is in Spain. Because like if I'm remembering correctly, okay, so the area of wine that they have is close to the ocean,
It's closer to the ocean,
and it's got
and
kind of
it's
like
high.
those mountains. It's got those mountains that it's like it's got like the tall mountains that protect it, but it's up also close to it, like in the middle hill area, if that makes sense. So I really think that sea air and the mountain that's blocking it and the altitude that they're at is making it to where the soil is more moisture, so the grapes have more moisture, if that makes sense.
All of that makes sense, and all of that is very accurate from what I remember as studying about it. But I would also say that it's a little bit, probably a little bit warmer climate
Okay.
because Spain is further south
Mhm.
than France, than France is,
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
and so that comes into play as well. So we've
Yeah.
got Frederick wishing you the happiest of birthdays as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So far, I mean, I'm enjoying the drink. I'm absolutely enjoying the cigar. I haven't focused in on any of the pairing notes because just I'm enjoying the conversation. Uh, I mean, so far this is going great. I'm enjoying this.
Well,
It's
and I'm going
definitely
to.
a summer break. Definitely a summer break pairing.
I will say this. Uh, when you have cigars to wine, you do still get that pepper flavor. We were talking about that pepper spice that's in there. But when you go from the wine to the cigar, it totally chills. It mellows out that pepper.
So I'm not getting any pepper yet from the
Okay.
cigar, but I am having a hard time getting a good cherry on it.
Oh,
I'm probably gonna have to. I'm gonna take my draw tool just see if I can get a little bit more
yeah.
airflow on this. And it
Um,
could be just because of the way I cut it, and I don't want to cut it anymore because then I'm gonna come down below the cap.
yeah, and but see, here's my little ash that I have on it,
Yeah.
so you can see it's stacking dimes.
So you
It,
can see I'm getting some black in there, and that's just a sign of that not having very good very good combustion. It's not lit very well. And we lost our lovely Red. Hopefully I'm sure we will get her back in just a moment. So while we're doing that, let us know what are you guys pairing right now? Did anybody else come with a sangria to the party?
you do.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Sorry. I was excited about what I was going to say. I was going to answer a question, and I accidentally hung up.
I was
Okay.
wondering
So,
what you did. I was like, wait a minute, I offended her. She ran off.
um, but here's my thing: is I'm like laughing on that one. Now I lost. Okay, so whenever you are smoking outside, that was the question that I was going to address because I said, billionaire, calm down. Let me ask. So I went over my fruit. I have raspberry, I have strawberries, oranges, plum, blackberry, blueberry. Also, I have sugar in there. I did club soda, which is something different that I've never tried. So there's the sangria. Oh, and blueberries. So there's my sangria. Oh, and oranges too, and lemon. So since y'all live outside in Texas and smoke outside in Texas summer, I've been having issues with my cigar blowing up or unwrapping. Any tips to prevent that? So we kind of were talking about that last year. Last year.
Last week. Hasn't been that long yet. Time flies by, but not that fast.
So whenever you are smoking outside, especially like in this heat, and I mean, thankful today that it's a beautiful day, but normally it's going to be like 108. You're going from like that 70% to 68, 69 humidity, and then you're coming outside. Like yesterday was 20, I think 23% humidity, and then you've got the heat. So you're used to storing your cigars like at a 70-degree temperature, and then all of a sudden you're bringing it out to like 100. Um, if you don't let your cigar sit out and kind of acclimate to your house and then acclimate to outside, you are going to get cracked wrappers.
Yep. The wrapper's going to crack, and that's exactly what happened to mine
Hmm.
last week because I brought my cigar directly from my humidor directly outside and then let it sit out here in the 105-degree temperature, which is, it's better than 100 and, I mean, it's better than 95, but still, I mean 95 would be better, but even on this one I let it sit on my
Hmm.
desk for about 10 to 15 minutes and then brought it out, and it hasn't blown up where last week, I mean, we saw
Yeah,
mine
was
exploded.
yeah. So it's not the construction of the cigar because people are like so quick, and I'm like, no, it's because you took it from inside to outside. It will even do that in the cooler weather. In the
Yep.
snow, it's the same thing when it's winter outside, and you're going to a colder temperature, and then you're going to that. For me, in the winter, it cracks worse. For me, just to do that.
It's harder
So,
to acclimate it downwards than it is to acclimate it upwards.
right.
So yeah.
So a thing that can help you in the summertime is like even like inside your house, if you put it like in a like outside, like out on your desk for like 10 minutes, like Bear said, then you put it in a dry box all alone with no humidity pack, close that off, put it in that box, then from there put it outside. I
Yep.
mean that you can do that. So there you go. There's
And
some tips and tidbits.
and if the wrapper blows up and cracks, you can smoke through it. You can absolutely smoke through it. I did last week. Periodically, as you're seeing that the wrapper is losing its burn, just relight the wrapper, just go around the edge
Hmm.
of it, touch it up. You'll see that the wrapper will constrict back into the cigar, and keep the band on it. Don't take the band off until absolute last moment, and you'll see that it'll burn down, and you'll burn down past that crack, and you'll have your cigar with the wrapper intact, and you won't. I mean, it's not going to be a lost cigar. Especially, I mean, my cigar that I was smoking last week was a $24, $25 cigar.
Actually,
I'm,
up more now. It's more. The
is it?
cigar that you could, yeah, it's cost more than that now. You got it for that price.
I got it for that price.
New
Yeah.
new taxes. And I kind of want to address this because, like, when I was working a couple weeks ago, I had a lot of people coming in the shop, and they're like, "You keep jacking up the prices. Y'all keep raising the prices. Y'all, cigar shops don't raise the prices unless the company raises the prices." Because it used to be twice a year that they would raise prices because of
Hmm.
taxes and everything else. Now it seems like it's every 2 to 3 months that prices are going up. Don't give your tobacconists and your retail people a hard time. They don't set the prices. We have to go by prices that is set by the tobacco company.
And
You
don't
know,
give them a hard time either, because
I
the
can't
cost
do
of the
anything
box,
about it.
The cost of the boxes has gone up. The cost of cellos have gone up. The cost of bands have
Wrappers.
gone up. The cost of the tobacco across all of it has gone up, and especially if you're going with first and second primings on a tobacco, which is a much higher quality and a much higher
Mhm.
price tobacco, those are going up astronomically. So
Mhm.
the the cigar manufacturers, they're seeing their prices increase by 5 to 7%.
And they have to pay people. And a lot of these companies, a lot of people from Nicaragua, Honduras, they're fleeing. They're coming here. We talked about it on the show. So now they're having in order like they already are paying them a good wage. Like most of them pay them more than what they're supposed to provide health insurance and all this other stuff than what the daily rate is for other people that live in the country. Now they're even having to pay even more for the incentive to keep them there. So there you go. I'm gonna say now, like my flavors. I was gonna ask, have you gotten any of that pepper?
As soon as I opened up the the cap of it, and with the draw tool, just allow a little bit more airflow in because of where I was able to cut it. Yes, I'm starting to get the white pepper, and really
Hmm.
noticing how the white pepper going from cigar to drink is really, it's kind of opening that drink up and making me think
Hmm.
it's more of a Spanish style drink with a little bit of spice and not just
Hmm.
the sweet and the fruitiness.
But and as you see, as you get further down, I'm further than you. Um, it's now getting that floral, and it's getting those stone fruits. You're gonna get more of the stone fruits, and it actually, when you go from cigar to the wine, it makes the wine sweeter.
Well, let me catch up with you. So CWB80 says,
What's
"Damn
that?
Canadian winters."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
Yes.
so the way that Red described bringing your cigar out in the summertime, by going to your desk for for a good 10 to 15 minutes, going to a box, a dry box, with the lid, shut it down. You can actually take that outside as well in the colder winters
Yeah.
and let it stay in there, and that box will slowly cool off. The box is not going to
Hmm.
just immediately jump down to 20 degrees, 10 degrees, 15 degrees below zero. It's going to slowly decrease
Hmm.
in temperature and bring your cigar down at that way as well, as opposed to shocking it to the immediate shock of a cold.
And I was actually going to say that. I'm glad that you said that because I was going to say, oh, I'm going to tell it, and then my ADHD kicked in. This is my bad to burn out. So that's my recommendation during the winter is to do that. Um, Definitely, that's a go-to because like when I started doing that with my cigars in the winter, I didn't get the cracks. Also, they have the glue that you can buy. So if your cigar is starting to crack, you can get a cigar glue and it will you just put a little bit on your finger and then you go do it like that and it will do it and you need to let it dry. But if your cigar is lit, it dries pretty fast.
It dries pretty fast.
So
And use just a tiny, tiny, tiny
tiny bit.
bit of it, because if you don't, you're just going to get some, what people would call, kind of a little bit of a soapy type note to it. That would be similar to a cilantro soapiness note to it from that glue. Too
And
much of it will give you that.
okay, yeah, I guess I've never used too much because it doesn't. I've even put it on my tongue and I didn't taste anything. So I'm wondering like if they're actually using the correct glue.
Well, I've seen it, especially on the Kappa, on the Kappa
Uh-huh.
when I've had to fix the Kappa,
Oh, if they're putting it
it's right
there.
there.
Oh, yeah. Then I can see that because I've only used it down there. I've never used it there.
I've only used it here, and I've never used it down there.
I can be immature on my birthday, even though I'm
Oh,
turning 46.
although
I
that
had,
that may be kind of kind of provocative there.
And well, that was like another thing. I thought my kids have to remind me how old I am. I thought I was 46.
You are
No,
46.
today, but the other
Yes.
day I was like, I've been telling people I've been 46 for like the last 6 months. I'm not. Yeah,
He's
you
the
can't
only
quit.
person I've ever seen that doesn't say happy birthday. It's
Uh huh.
always a happy natal day from Chris for as many years
Mhm.
as I've known him now.
Mhm.
Love it. Thank you for jumping on. Thank you
Mhm.
everybody for jumping on. I love this. Love the attendance on this. And
Yeah.
guess
Thank
what?
y'all.
Another surprise to announce, but I can't show up because I didn't come prepared for that.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll
However,
forgive you.
however, if anybody wants to watch it and they don't have a YouTube account and they don't do Facebook and they want to watch the streaming of our show, well, our show streams from our website now.
Oh, what?
All you
You
have
need
to
to
do
pull up
is
the website and
let
show
me
it.
let,
Like
let me
I'm telling you what to do.
let me see
You
if I
got
can
you.
let me see if I can and not get feedback. We don't want to get any feedback on this.
Yeah. But I will say that I'm enjoying that. Ashfred, have you ever had a surprise birthday party? Oh, that's a good one. Any favorite birthday memory with a good cigar?
Okay, hold off.
Okay,
Be
I'll
thinking
answer
about your
that.
answer. Be thinking about your answer.
I've,
Um,
I've, I've already got my two answers. One of them might make me get teary eyed.
Here we are. This is the streaming
Oh, that is so cool.
of it. This is directly from our website, so you can see it. Clicked on Twisted Pair here, and so now you can see me actually showing it.
Yeah, that is so cool. Like there was multiple of us. Okay,
Yes.
so I have had a surprise birthday party, and my parents. I grew up extremely spoiled, you know.
What you?
Every
No.
and my brothers and sisters say this. This is not me saying this. That they call me the favorite child. They say that I'm the favorite, and it might have been said a couple of times by a certain somebody. And whenever my birthday came along, because my birthday was in the summer, because we didn't start school till September, like until September, right? I would go to Disney World for my birthday. I would go to New York. I would go to Spain. I would go to California. And we would go to Disney World. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So we would travel, and my birthday would last the entire month and trip, you know. So it was everywhere we went. They're like, oh, it's her birthday. It's her birthday. Always made a big deal out of it. I was 16, 15 or 16, and we weren't going anywhere on my birthday. And my dad says, hey, I really need your help. I need you to help me to take this car in. And my brother was there, and I was like, well, why can't Junior go with us? Why do I need to go? It's my birthday. I want to sleep in. And he's like, no. So we went, I don't, a couple hours away for something. And then when we got there, the place was closed, and I was really pissed. I was like, what the heck? I was like, we're not celebrating my birthday. We haven't done anything for my birthday. And I'm being the bitch. Like I'm being a spoiled, rotten bitch is what I'm doing. And like I'm basically throwing a fit. And I told my dad, I was like, how come we haven't done anything? We always do something. And then my dad's like, well, things have come up. The world doesn't revolve around you, and all this other stuff.
All
And
those things that dads have to say.
yeah, in which he should have. I mean, he should have slapped me, is what he should have done. And my brother came along, and he's like, well, when I was younger, we didn't celebrate, because my dad was financially, average and maybe a little bit above average, but he didn't have his millions, multi-millions of dollars until I came along, you know. And
Mhm.
so I was just being a little too. And I remember calling my mom on my cell phone. I was like, I can't believe I'm having to do this. And I'm acting like a little brat. And she's like, and she even says, she goes, it's not about you all the time. She goes, it's not about you. So I kind of straightened up. She's like, get over yourself. And I was like, dang, like my parents never talked to me like that, you know? And so I was like, okay. I walk in the door and like all of my brothers and sisters are there. All of my friends are there. You know, I think it's like my softball team, my drill team, like everybody is there and they yell out surprise. And let me tell you, I was humbled and then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the biggest bitch. So yeah, so it taught
Uh,
me a lesson because I remember it.
how
Yeah.
old were you?
I think I was about like 16 because like maybe even 15 because my dad let me drive at 15. Like I drove illegally without I knew
A-
how to drive, but
and
yeah.
they had cell phones then?
Well, very few people had cell phones. I mean, that's why I said it because my dad, both
These
of
were
them,
those big
the
mobile
brick
ones.
ones, like it
Yeah.
was a weapon, like a weapon. And so it was kind of like, and he was doing it was for my car. He was doing something for my car, and it because
Right.
I had a Cadillac and it was a lavender, and I think the paint me got a scratch or something. So we were doing that, and we were taking it all the way out there. Um, even though I wasn't legally old enough to drive. So that was like, you know, the moment that I was like, oh my gosh, my parents went above and beyond to do this surprise, and I was a bitch about it. So we have a very good friend, and we kind of celebrated him yesterday. And we've talked about him before. We talked about him last year. Uh, Jimmy Legion. He was a very good friend. He passed 2 years ago. Uh, and he gave me my very first Opus X Purple Rain. And he gave it to me, it was from 2016, 2017. And that was the cigar that he gifted me for my birthday, like almost every year. So that is a special cigar that I don't drink it. I don't drink it. I don't smoke it if it's on a weeknight, you know, a weeknight. Like
Right.
this one, it's kind of something where I go off, I smoke it alone, and now since he's passed, I smoke and kind of like remember him and and I reflect on the year. My thing is, if you don't reflect on who you are and mistakes you've made, progresses you made, you need to celebrate your big moments that you've had. You also need to reflect and like, okay, what could I have done better? How did I screw up? Yeah, I fucked up on this. That's my that's my cigar that I do that, and I think about my friendships and my children and my family. So that's my cigar that I usually smoke is the Opus X 2016 2017. Thank you very much, Mr. Dan. I appreciate it. So I think I answered your question. I probably went into more detail than what you wanted to know about uh, favorite birthday memory. And then it goes really well with a chantilly cake, and it also goes really well with a red velvet. But there's something about an Opus X that you just don't want to drink or eat anything. I just only had like a bite or so. But that's what I like.
Let's take a pause for a moment and let's do our news and events. I know that you've got two events to announce, and I've got one news item to announce.
Where my where my piece of paper go? I think I lost it. Grab here. I forgot. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because it was
No,
on my page.
just
I gotta wait. I gotta wait.
I got to do the thing.
I know I gotta get used to it.
Okay, now we're back with news and events from Leap and Grain Society, Twisted Pair, and to you, Ash Red.
Okay, so everybody, I actually had this question come up in my message me. Hey, Ashra, do you know of any events? Do you know I'm going on vacation? I want to go to these events, and you seem like well, you know all these cool events that are happening. One event in particular that is happening in the DFW area, mainly Dallas. I'm just going to say Dallas because it's Lancaster is blowing smoke. They are having their first annual, which I'm excited because they put the word annual, so that means they're going to do it again. Cigar Fest, blowing smoke cigar fest, and they're going to have many cigar vendors, different vendors there. They're going to have food, music, raffle prizes, and then if you when you get your ticket, your VIP ticket, you'll be allowed to go in earlier. Plus, you get swag. Everybody loves cigar swag. I don't care who you are. We like cigar swag.
And
So,
you get to see us because
yes,
we will
we'll
be
be
there.
there.
Leap and
We,
Grain Twisted Pair will be there.
hmm
Okay, so
So,
I'm gonna jump in with our one and only news item because one of our viewers is actually pertains to him. So it was announced this week that Mickey Pegg, who is very well known in the industry. He was VP of sales, if I remember right, with General Cigars. One of the he was one of the sales reps and executives that really made CAO known. You know, back in the earlier years of CAO. And he's now one of the co-owners and founders of All Saint Cigars. Has recently joined McAuliffe that Dan Thompson is from, is the president of McAuliffe Cigars as the president of sales. So he's going to be working with McAuliffe Cigars and still working with Al Saint Cigars, basically combining the sales force. So we really expect to see some good things coming out
mhm.
from both sides of the industry and just really, I mean, both sides of, their companies and seeing what kind of growth that we're going to, that they are able to accomplish on really growing those brands. So that's my one news item I have.
and and now I'm having like oh, I'm excited about this. In Nacogdoches, Texas, they are having a cigar fest, and I just remember the lumberjack like on there. And this is in October, y'all. This is in October. So when you come down our Texas and the one that I talked about earlier, blowing smoke, that is September the 9th, I believe. Um, but the whole weekend of like in October the 21st, 22nd, 23rd is like around that weekend is they have this Nacogdoches Cigar Fest and it's the entire weekend. Friday night, it's kind of like a pre-party. They have dinner, getting to hang out, smoke cigars, in a raffle, give away prizes. The next day is Cigar Fest, and one of our favorite people will be there. Karen and Bruce will be there with Tay by Karen and Don Kiki, and so you know that they just came out with the tailgate and the K Fire cigar. And so you need to get down there so you are able to taste those scrumptious cigars, those really good cigars. And of course, there's also going to be other vendors. I think like Drew Estates one. Dan, if
Hmm.
McAuliffe is going to be there, let us know. We've been advertising these events on our website. So, and that one's like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they have different things going on um, concerts, music. So it's going to be really cool. I love the fact that a lot of vendors are coming together to create these things. So that way, it's an opportunity for you to get a great deal on packaged cigars to try for not like the full price that you see. Usually they knock off something, so there's that. So if you go to our website, like Graybeard has, there you will see events coming. So if you own a cigar shop or you work for a company or you have a cigar company, you have events coming up, please let us know so we can talk about it on our segment. So that
Well,
way everybody's in the know.
and if you're in the local area, or I would say within 2 hours, proximity of Fort Worth, on the 25th, last Friday of the month, Bottle Night by Leaf and Grain Society will be back at the
Oh,
Underground
what?
from 7 till close. And so it's bring a bottle if you wish, share a bottle for some tastings, and pair a cigar. And you can ask myself or anybody else from Leaf and Grain Society on what to pair. So we hope to see you there. To see you there then. And that was news and events.
Yeah.
See now that we've got that blocked off, I can go in and
Yeah.
just edit that part out, and we can take that on to a YouTube short, and we can get people
Woo woo.
to come in and to sponsor the news and event segment.
Woo woo. Looking for sponsors. So,
Hint, hint, wink, wink,
so
nudge, nudge.
that's a shameless plug. um,
That's a shameless beg.
mm, so now we're getting on into our more towards the end of our second third.
This is a great cigar. I am just having such a hard time with keeping it, keeping it lit throughout it. And
And I
that
haven't
has to
had
do with
issues
my
only because I'm talking.
yeah.
I had to relet
I
mine.
I
What?
I've had to relight it a couple of times, and it feels a little bit soft on there. And I'm thinking it's just because of my humidification. I need to check what the humidity is where I had this kept on there. I don't think that this is a construction of the cigar
Mm,
at all.
I've had
It was
several
a
of them.
little bit more firm than what it is now. Now it's really soft in the center. So that just tells me that's me, not
Yeah,
it.
them. Yeah, and I can tell you because I've like had any. I've had several of these, and I've never had like a construction issue unless it's like I haven't because I keep it in its own special box. Um.
And I just real quick, if I may. I know
Mhm.
we've talked about this before, but I was talking about this with some people this past weekend, and I was actually
Ooh.
talking with somebody yesterday, a guy from El Salvador, and I smoked one of his cigars. It's an El Salvadoran Puro that he's trying to introduce to the market, and through a mutual connection that we have, she got me one of his cigars, and so I'm on a conference call yesterday morning smoking the cigar, and we're talking about the construction of it, and I made mention. No, and he's like, what is it about people on the constructions? And I wanted to come back to him. I said, construction on your cigar is great. 90% of the time, when people blame it on the construction, it's not on the construction of the cigar. It's on how those individuals are taking care of their cigars. And I just wanted to call that out. Don't be so quick to blame the manufacturer, the cigar brand, the rollers, on something that you have control over with how you're taking care of your cigars through the humidor care, humidity, rotating, correct
Eh,
temperature, all of that.
Okay, I'm just gonna pause right now because I want to come back to that. But first, before I forget that, so I had a plum. Um. Then I had smoked. Then I had a raspberry and smoked. The phenomenal floral sweetness of it with the cigar was an O in my mouth. And y'all
Wow.
know when I say an O in my mouth. So you need to try, especially like I haven't done like the strawberry. I'm nervous to try like an orange or something because it's too citrusy, I think, for the cigar. But
I just did a peach, and
hmm
yeah, peach to cigar. Wow. Don't be afraid to try to pair your cigars with different types of fruits, especially if you're smoking a Habano wrapper, a San Andres wrapper, an Ecuadorian wrapper. I mean, you're just going to get some beautiful notes.
yeah, I want to try a grape. I'm just sitting here because like I'm the only one. I don't think anybody else in my house is going to drink this, and if they are, I'm just going to be like, well, I just ordered it. So, and I'm going to get to your question, billionaire. I saw it, so don't worry. I just want to try my grape first. It's my birthday. I can do that.
It's my birthday, and I'll cry if I want to.
Man,
So for
fruit
all
with
of
a
our viewers,
cigar.
here's the question, and I think
It's a very valid
we
question.
both. It's a very valid question on it. I'm going to start off with by saying it depends upon the kind of cigar that's in there. There's
Yes.
nothing wrong with keeping it at a 69, um, but those only certain types of cigars really, flourish at that high of a humidity. And that's typically going to be your Honduran and your Nicaraguan cigars are going to do really much better at a 69. Your Cuban, Ecuadorian, and Dominican aren't going to do as well at that high.
The highest you should ever go on a on your humidor is 72. Do not go above that. I'm gonna say that right there.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, your humidity, like that's when you can kind of flex with the humidity um with it, but even then you don't want to go too high. And because if it's going over 74, you're doing that stuff or under, that 69 whatever, you're going to screw it. There are sweet spots for a reason. There's sweet spots. And you have to be careful, like we were saying, what kind of cigar it is, because like some cigars do better because they're used to the heat and whatever. But like when it comes to like, you know, you really have to take care of your humidors, because if you are not doing right by your humidors, it doesn't matter of winter, summer, or whatever. If your humidor isn't right, then your cigars are screwed.
And I would say keep your humidors in the same type of position that you would keep your wines in. Don't keep them near the window. Don't keep them where sun is able to come in. Don't keep them where heat is able to come in. You don't have to increase or decrease the humidity level based upon the winter or summer. Our cigars like consistency. That 140 rule
Hmm.
of where the combination of them two added together, throw that out the window. That's a myth.
Yeah,
That's a misnomer. I can guarantee you that if you keep the 70-70 rule, that 140 rule, that you're going to end up with cigars that are going to end up being molded. If you keep
yeah.
your Dominican Republics at 70 or 72, you're going to introduce mold into your humidor, and it's going to spread
It,
out to all of them.
and here's my thing: if you're not checking on your cigars monthly and rotating them monthly and doing, you're going to get mold in them. Like if you're not keeping control of that stuff. And if you get mold on one, it's going to spread, and then you've just lost your thing.
Well,
So check on it.
the other thing on is to
Mhm.
say, you and I both run a lot of Tupperware doors, and a lot of people don't realize that what we do with our humidors is we allow the air to get stagnant in it. And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
I had a question earlier today of I'm getting these banana smells, aromas in my Tupperware door, and he's got his cigars just stacked on top of each other in there. Well, one, that doesn't allow for airflow, and two, if you're not opening up even your Tupperware on a
Hmm.
regular basis, letting it stay open for for 30 minutes or so. No more. You don't have to stay open longer than
It
30
it doesn't
minutes.
even have to be like that long.
No, I mean I keep
I would
mine
say
open for maybe.
15,
I well,
10,
yeah,
15.
I think I keep mine open maybe on maximum, like on my Tupperware for
Yeah.
5 to 10 minutes. But you got to let that stagnant air go out, or you're going to build up some unpleasant aromas that will absorb into your cigars.
And another thing is like because we said that we do the Tupperware method. I mean, that's what I do. I put all my cigars in cigar boxes, and I put
Yeah,
Bovita. I throw a Bovita pack in there, so I've got that Spanish thing. So for the packs that I don't have in, and y'all, this I have huge Tupperwares. I have the biggest Tupperwares that you can possibly get. And so that way, and then I have all my cigars, like they're in there by their types, by their brand. The Bovita pack that's in there is made for that cigar, and I try to keep them all together, but not all of them have that. Majority, I would say about like 85% of my cigars are found in some type of wood. If not, then I take the cedar blocks that come into cigar things and I throw them into my Tupperware along with extra Bovita packs. So, and it's for me, it's easier. And another thing is don't get a big A Tupperware and just only keep like 50 cigars in there or 20 if you're just letting them hang out at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? If
yeah,
you're not
no,
putting them in a box or whatever, you are going to either over humidify or dry them out and under humidify. And that's where you're going to have your issue. Like like on my big ones, I would say I have a couple of hundred in those. But y'all, I check on my humidors. I make that it's like, I think there's been times where I've gone like a month or two, but because I'm always in there moving things about, rotating it, I'm not like doing it with my like how I normally would do it, where I would write on my Sharpie. I take a Sharpie and I say, okay, I rotated it on this date, on this date. I when I have like I do that, but like there was like a time where I didn't have time for that, and because I was grabbing and moving cigars around, it was okay because
yeah,
it wasn't just like there and forgotten about. Because there's people that forget about their cigars and get the Tupperwares that are sealed. I get the Ziploc Tupperwares. That's the brand that I like.
they're gonna have some kind of seal wrapped in it that when you sits down on there and it clips type it seals it up. This is almost a religious discussion,
Yeah,
and I mean I've talked to many people that say that plume doesn't exist. It's always mold. I
yes it
happen to come from
does, motherfuckers.
I come from a different camp of it. Here's the way, and I've seen both. Okay, plume is going to look like a powdered sugar dusting
Hmm.
on the cigar.
It's
And
crystallized. It's crystallized.
yes, mold looks like spores, individual spores. So where the plume is going to be a crystallized powdered sugar that's just like a dusting over it.
And you can wipe it off.
You can immediately wipe it off. Uh, Mold is tiny little individual spores that'll go over it. If you don't know for sure, then just stay away.
Or ask your
Just
tobacconist.
to ask your tobacconist. Um, if your tobacconist even immediately comes off with going, well, I'm not sure, then
Then
avoid the cigar,
stay away.
and then
We
stay
had
away from their shop.
Yeah, we had some padrones that were at the underground, and I actually took one because of the amount of crystallized plume that was on there. And I had someone come in and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Red, you have mold on your padrones," and this was the upper ones, the $25 ones, and I was like, "No, it's plume."
Nope, it's
And they're
plume.
like, there's no such thing as plume. And I was like, okay, yes, there is. I will fight you for it. Let's go out in the parking lot and do that now. And I was like, no, it's plume because, and I showed them, I was like, when it's like this, you can brush it off. If it's the other way, you can't. Um, and
You actually have
plume
to
is when
pick
it's,
the spore out.
yeah, you do. And it smears it. That's another thing, is if you can't tell, if you take your hand and you rub on it and it smears and it leaves a dark mark, mold,
Mold. Mold.
mold.
Here,
And
here,
get rid
here,
of the
here's
damn
what
cigars. Don't
here's
smoke
what
them.
plume here's what plume actually is. Plume is actually the oils that have come
Hmm.
up into the
Yeah.
wrapper itself and has actually kind of crystallized. And it's a powdered it's a
Mm.
powdered looking crystal. And you wipe it
Yeah.
completely. You can wipe it off. Uh,
But don't.
I don't know. Smoke through it. I mean, because it's a beautiful note on it.
You're gonna get more of a taste from it and a beautiful flavor. So there you go.
I've never seen a cigar that has too much. So billionaire asks, if I buy a cigar with plume on it, when I put it down my humidor, will it keep producing? And is there such a thing as too much plume? Okay, so
Okay,
one, I've never seen a
I've
cigar with
got
too
two
much
parts.
plume.
I have like I've seen like because of the studies and stuff for my course. I've
Hmm.
seen where it's just like plume all over. And a couple of cigars that I know people have had like a shit ton of it. But there's no such thing as too much because it's that oils right there. Now, and I'm going to tell you, it's probably not going to produce the plume like it would if it was in the cigar shop because it's the cigar shops. We have that consistent humidity. We are checking, the temperatures. We're checking the humidity. I mean, it's like a perfect condition. It's sealed off. It's gotten used to that environment. Now I'm going to take it to my house. It's not going to have the same environment, even though I have a Bovita pack in there or something else. I've changed the environment, so you're not going to see the plume like immediately just explode and keep going. It's going to be kind of like stagnant for a while, unless you have a perfect walked-in humidor where your humidity is consistently, or like a wall cabinet would be a good one where it's closed, then you will have that, or a Tupperware that's like mint condition. But I'm going to answer that. No, when you get to your house, unless you leave it be and just keep it back there, and it's perfect, but you've changed the environment of that cigar. And you've got to remember, tobacco is a plant. So
Hmm.
you upset the environment, you change the environment, it's going to respond to that new environment. I hope
And
that makes sense.
I will say as final closing thoughts on this, plume is very rare. It's plume is not the common. It's very rare because of everything that Red just stated. It takes the perfect environment, a balance of temperature and humidity, to allow those oils to continue expanding out, and it takes age. I mean, it
It does.
takes age. You're not going to find plume on a cigar that you bought, last week that was just released 2 weeks prior to that. If you see that, then that could be humidity dust,
Right.
which there is a humidity dust,
Right.
and
You'll see
I'm
you'll
not.
see that on the cello. The humidity
Yes.
does. If you look at other cigars in the shop, and if you that I'm chuckling
I am too.
on that one. So if you walk now, I forgot my train of thought because I read the comment. Um,
Humidity dust cello.
yeah. So if you see it like there's like you think, oh my gosh, there's plume, and you see a cigar and you wipe it, the cello, and it comes off, that's humidity dust.
Yep. Great questions. And Joe has another really good question here. And we were talking about this again. I was talking about this with the person earlier today on this. And I've seen so many people that will just take, like cedar planks and put it in their Tupperware and put, and do stacks on it. You've got to let the airflow flow. So if you don't have slots through the wood and there's no way
Hmm.
that the air can circulate through, then you're really doing your cigars a disservice. And you better be in there more than monthly rotating your cigars.
Hmm. Right.
Otherwise, you're going to introduce stagnant air. And you could possibly introduce mold because it's going to be at the lower parts of your big humidor or your Tupperware door or your
Hmm.
cabinet. There's going to be
Oh,
higher
sure.
humidity at the lower levels than there will be at the mid or
Hmm.
and upper tier. So you've got to rotate or you got to have those slats and airflow to come through.
So yeah, and let me tell you, the ones that I have that are open, that aren't in the boxes, and another thing is like all my boxes are like cracked a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Certain ones because of that. Because I don't want it to be like air. So there's that. Um, but I'm always in my humidor, like I do smoke, and you know there's that. So I am like, and maybe one day we should just kind of like show a couple of our humidors like on the show, like humidor 101, just to kind of like, hey, this is what we have, this is what I do, and all this stuff. But I also keep them like in like the paper, but the paper, like the ones that have been sealed, they stay sealed. But if I've opened them, they're moving about in that humidor. So like that's the main thing is you just gotta keep it checked out. You've got to look at it. You've got to make sure that you're doing right by it because a lot of people don't, and then they end up saying, "Oh, it's the people who rolled the cigar." So this is where I was going to come back on that. If you have a cigar that is canoeing, and this is where I'm going to say, if it is canoeing, it's a construction issue. It's not how
I,
you're keeping your cigar.
I would say that it's yeah, it's definitely not how you're keeping the cigar. If you don't rotate your cigar when you're taking a draw off of it while you're
Yeah,
smoking it,
oh,
then it
yeah.
can canoe. Otherwise, then it's absolutely construction issue, and a lot of
But
times that's going to be the
but
accordion, and it's too loose on one end.
but a true canoe is going to give you a bitter taste. That's how you can
Yes,
tell. That's
if
how
it's a
you can
construct.
tell if it's a construction issue. So I want to add that note. So if it is a bitter taste and you have to purge your cigar, 100% construction error. So
That
there's my
now
caveat.
that so the reason behind it's being a construction issue is you've got all those oils bunching up in one
Right.
area because if you think about it, a lot of cigar rollers, what they do is what's called an accordion, to where the fold cross over like this. Well,
No,
that allow
well, it's like an accordion. It goes back and forth.
right. Well, that's what I was trying to display.
Yeah.
If they just roll it up and bunch it up, which some do that, you end up with really tight bunching, say like on the bottom, but the top is going to be looser. So you've
Hmm.
got all those oils concentrated right there, and that's going to create that bitterness. So then that's absolutely 100% a construction issue. So you're going to get stronger combustion at the top and slower combustion at the bottom, and it's going to just canoe all the way up.
This is like I'm at the end, and it's so fucking amazing at the end. This is my favorite part of the cigar. Is like
And,
this is
and
one that I will smoke to like as fucking far as I can go.
I'm trying to on mine. I'm trying to on mine. And please, I mean, if I'm wrong on anything that I'm explaining, because you've studied this, more recent than I've studied this, and please absolutely correct me. Um, so Joe states that the vertical slots that he's talking about is what holds the cigars along the vertical perimeter. None of my
Right.
humidors have that, but I've seen that. But that still promotes what we're talking about, and that's that airflow.
Yeah. So and I have a couple of them, so I've never bought. Okay, yeah, this is where I was talking about, like with mine. I don't be cheap on your Tupperdores, mofo's, because you're spending. That was not very nice, but
It's after 9 o'clock somewhere.
okay, yeah, Eastern time. Don't be cheap. You're sitting here investing money on these cigars. Cigars aren't cheap. We talked about that. You know, you got your house blends that are $5 and all this other one. The majority of us are not smoking. Majority of us in our humidor do not have $5 cigars. Just saying, right? Why the heck would you get like a $2, $3, whatever Tupperware to store your cigars? If you are like, if you really enjoy your cigars and you have several of them, you want, this is my personal one. I only buy Ziploc sealed Tupperwares because they seal it off. Don't be cheap, mofo. That's right. Don't be cheap. Because when you are a cheap mofo on your cigars, they're not going to keep the humidity. It's not going to do well for your cigar. It's not. Like it's like people. And here's another thing. If you have a glass, don't buy a glass top humidor. No,
No.
stay the fuck away from it. Okay. Glass top is bad. It lets in that light. It dries out the cigar. You want all wood, do everything wood, do the dollar test. If you put your dollar in there and you pull it out, that's bad. It's not keeping it locked down for that moisture. You know what we're talking about?
Hmm.
So that means that you need a tighter seal around it. So I always, whenever I sell humidors, I do a dollar test. I take a dollar out of the cash register and do it in there. And if it's a good one, then that's the one I'm going to give you. I'm going to teach you how to season it. You don't need to season it for like 5 billion years, y'all. You don't,
Yeah, I
because a
I
lot of
don't
people do that.
recommend season. I do not recommend seasoning your wooden humidors at all. Um, because and really, I go back to what Kevin Shahan had talked about when on our show, and I've
Right.
tried
And
it.
then I'm gonna tell you why I disagree with that statement. But go ahead. You say your piece, and I'm gonna say my piece.
Um, in seasoning where you're wiping and billionaire, yes, you are being judged, buddy.
You are.
Um, in seasoning your humidors and where a lot of people do it is they wipe it down and then they calibrate it and wipe it down and calibrate and wipe it down and calibrate and wipe it down and calibrate. They overdo that. When I do it, and it really I guess it is type of a seasoning. I just take a shot glass of worth of distilled water and set it inside my humidor for about a week, and it just comes up to
Okay. I'm
to
gonna allow you to do that. I'm gonna allow you to do that. It's someone who's been smoking cigars for a while and knows how to do it. But a newbie, no. And I'm
I
gonna tell
I,
you.
I will agree with that. I will agree with that.
Okay. So here's the reason why I say that you need to season it, and and this before I would have said it, but after working in a cigar shop, humidors don't sell. We will buy in bulk. We'll buy, 10 of this size, 5 of this size, whatever, whatever deal we can get, right? So we can get. So my thing is where are most humidors stored?
In a warehouse,
Okay. And then after it's delivered to the shop, where does it go?
on the shelf.
Either on the shelf or in a storage in the back room, right?
Hmm.
Where it's put away and it takes this, and I'm going to say it takes us years to sell them. We're going to have them for a while. So if it's just back in storage and on a shelf close to the window because we have it on display, what's going to happen to it?
Oh, the wood's going to dry out completely.
It's going to dry out completely.
Yep.
So here's what if like, you know, I trust you with doing, because I do a shot glass. Whenever I have a wooden one, I mean, I keep my pipe tobacco in a wooden one, like the tins and stuff. because pipe tobacco is completely different versus my other one. So I have all my pipe tobacco in a wooden humidor. You know, it's not in my Tupperware. And the reason I have, and then even then, it's most of them are separated because I don't want the flavors to bleed in. Because like pipe tobacco is, a light tobacco. It's not dark tobacco, right? Because we're using the cigarette
Yeah,
leaves, what we call
yeah.
for
So
the cigarettes, right?
it's a white type white tobacco.
White tobacco. So you have flavor. You can introduce flavors. If you have too many flavors, the flavors are going to bleed. They're going to get onto each other. So this is pipe tobacco 101 on this, y'all. This is why they keep them in tins. If you're not keeping them in tins, you know, a lot of times they come with sealed bags. We keep them sealed. You write the date on it. You shake it up every once in a while so the oils are mixing. Because if you don't shake it up, it's going to dry out the top level and it's going to screw up your pipe tobacco. Okay, so you've got so I keep mine in my wooden ones. So it's a little bit different. So that's what I do for the pipe tobacco, but you care for it a little bit differently. And if for me, the wooden one just makes more sense, and I make sure throw Bovita packs in there to do the same thing. But it has to be sealed because if you walk into a tobacco shop, you will notice that they store them in these jars that are completely sealed off.
Hmm.
And there's a reason it locks in that moisture because it needs to be sealed.
And I think we lost Red for a moment. Going on what she said, 100% agree with everything that she's saying. When I buy a wooden humidor, when I buy a new humidor, one, I check this, make sure that it's got a good seal before I even purchase it. I bring it home and I let it acclimate to my home before I ever even put any cigars in it. Then this and then after about 2 weeks, as it's acclimated, and I do the shot of distilled water to allow the wood just to absorb the moisture naturally. After about 2 weeks, then I put in some, say, like some cheaper style. So some cheaper house blend cigars. So say those $5-6 cigars, and I keep it at about 60 to 70% capacity in there. With that, welcome
Sorry.
back, Red.
Sorry.
I,
I thought I put on my do not disturb and I didn't have it on that. And so people are calling with my birthday call. So I apologize for that.
I'm just kind of going over like what I do with my humidors, and I've stated that brand new wooden humidors that I've just bought from a shop. I let it acclimate to my home, my temperature, my home
Right.
humidity, doors, door closed, lid closed, alternating between lid closed and open, doing the shot glass of distilled, letting the wood absorb it naturally. Then the initial cigars I put in there are cheap cigars, the house blends, the $5. Take it
Mhm.
up to about 60, 65% capacity of cigars in there and still let that acclimate. The cigars are going to absorb that humidity, still have the shot glass in there. And then after about another 2 weeks of that, then I'll rotate out and put in some better cigars in there and move to a Bovita pack. That's
Okay,
what I
so
do.
that's what he does. For someone that doesn't do the shot glass, whatever, this is what I tell the people who go home with it. Take a couple Bovita packs, the big eight, 70%, and even do
Yeah.
69 and 70. Throw three of those, three or four of those puppies. I don't care how big your, like even the small ones. I tell them, keep the lid closed for 3 days, 3 or 4 days. Keep it closed so that humidity can get in there. See, because you're using a shot glass, so it's a little bit different for what you're doing.
Hmm. Right.
Bovita
No.
completely. Bovita is a different animal. So this is what I started doing because I'm like the shot glass is just too much of a effing hassle for that crap. Um, throw the Bovita packs in there, leave it for 3 or 4 days. Do not use the little dial that it comes with. Those are
Throw that
cheap.
away. Throw it
Throw it
away.
away. Or like keep it in there for like, because a lot of them are in there and it looks pretty. Just do it, but don't go by it. Get a digital one. And when that digital one, like after 3 days, that Bovita, but you've got to put the digital
Hydrometer.
yeah, hydrometer. Thank you. I was looking for the word. Throw the digital hydrometer in there along with three to four Bovita packs. Do 270, 260, 69. 3 days later, open it up, check the hydrometer, start taking out one pack and see what you're left with. And you can even do take out all the packs, put the hydrometer in there, close it, leave it overnight, next morning check. Whatever the hydrometer says, then that tells you, okay, do I need to put more Bovita packs in there or less? And then for me, that's the easiest way to tell for new people.
It's a lot easier to do it than the way that I do it. The way that I do it, and a lot of
Because you don't have to wet it down and all that shit that
no,
people are
no, you
telling
don't have to wet it down. And what I find when I do it this way for me, and I've talked with a lot of others, and I know you've done it this way as well. What I find is that when I've got it where I feel like it's right, and my hydrometer is giving me a good
me.
reading on it, I'm keeping my cigars in there. By the time I've gotten to that point, and I've got put my good cigars, and I've got my Velveeta pack.
Right.
My Velveeta pack is 65, and my hydrometer says 65. Either
Hmm.
way, you want to get to that point. What Red is describing is absolutely 100% a lot easier. It takes less overhead, less maintenance to watching it on it. Do whatever works for you.
Right.
It's not
I,
recommended that you wipe it down, and we say don't wipe it down because generally we wipe it down too much, and we're getting that initial soak into and absorption into it, and it's hit hard, and it takes weeks longer for your humidor to stabilize, and that's what we want it to do. We want it to stabilize to where it's
right.
reading at the humidity that it
Right.
is. So if I've got 65 Beta packs or 67 or 69s in there, my humidor is reading at that.
Right. Um, I'm gonna
Oh,
say I
wait,
think I
wait,
like strawberries.
wait a minute. Breaking news, game breaking news right now. This is half of the wine bottle
What?
is gone from Joe the whiskey guy.
Okay, so that means you like it, huh, Joe? Because half the bottle's gone.
I've introduced Joe to a couple of wines that he's picked up some bottles on, and he's come back to me and going, "Dude, this is a good bottle of wine." So don't let him fool you too much. But this is big news.
Yeah.
I think this is a cool question from Billionaire. Have either of us taken a cigar rolling class? I have not. I would. I have tried cigar rolling, and I will tell you that it is hard.
It's not as easy. Like they make it look freaking easy. It's not. I haven't taken one, but it's definitely what I want to do. It's like on my
I,
bucket list.
I will tell you for both of us, for our master sommelier, cigar sommelier, not only do we have to to roll cigars, but we actually have to spend time, a week or two at a factory down in Dominican or Nicaragua or someplace and go through the
The
planting, the
entire pl-
priming,
all the
the
entire process.
stringing them up and hanging them in the rafters and pulling them down and picking through the texture of them. The rolling of it is just one minor portion of it. By the time it gets to rolling, there's already been 200 hands that have touched the leaves.
Hmm. And I'm gonna say this: is it really can't happen. Like it'll be a week there, it'll be a week there. because each process it happens like from January, February, March. Depends on the season, right?
Right.
And it depends on the cigar and the tobacco and all those. There's other factors. And so it's not just like, oh, 1 week here and you got it. It when you like take all the time, it comes out to a couple months where you're at a tobacco farm. Is that
It's a lot of work into it, and I love what Joe says is that cigar rolling is an art. The rollers are true artists in the industry.
yeah, yeah,
100% agree. 100% agree.
yeah.
So Red,
Yes.
how was your birthday celebration on the Twisted
It's
Pair
I
bed?
love it. It's been a wonderful celebration. It has. It's in here. I'm enjoying it. We've had a phenomenal drink of like what's a better word than phenomenal for the cigar?
Um,
Like astonishing. I don't know. We've had astonishing sangria, uh, and a phenomenal
outstanding,
cigar.
outstanding.
Phenomenal. We've had an outstanding sangria and a phenomenal cigar. I'm gonna phrase it that way.
Something that Morgan used to say when she was younger. She used to say something that was outstanding, fantabulous,
Yes,
fantastic. She used to call it panda superosity.
yes, it's panda tuberosity. It's panda
That
tuberosity.
it's panda superosity. That is the ultimate. That's the ultimate achievement. Or like Joe would say, it's next level.
Yeah, it's next level.
So I know we
So
didn't get to this in the first hour, which we tried to get to our within the first hour. But if you've been paying attention, you probably get a picture that we both really love. We really love the this pairing. I'm actually enjoying the sangria, the white sangria. Highly recommend trying it. Uh, you can't get the cigar that we've been smoking, but try it with just about any cigar. Um,
I
I
would do
don't.
like floral. I would do a cigar that's like lighter with floral notes. Hey,
I would agree, but I'm kind of wondering if the contrast pairing of a full blown out, say Nicaraguan, say along the lines of a porcelain, if that would overpower the drink because the drink has got really strong bold flavored notes in it. And I think that would be a contrast pairing
I
that
need
would
it.
really bring something out to it. I don't
I
know.
was trying to find the drink that I did with a white sangria, and I was looking for it, and I don't remember what I paired with it. Um, but also I did brandy, and that's another thing. You did like a cognac kind of a thing.
I did a Grand Marnier.
Yeah,
Grand Marnier, which is an orange liqueur, based off of a cognac.
yeah. I did triple sec, but I normally put like a brandy in there.
Brandy would be really good.
Yeah, and it makes it sweeter. So, but it was my thing was like, hey, I've seen club soda a lot for these, so I was like, I'm gonna try that because I've never done it with a club soda, you know. Um, I like it if like you're gonna have a light cigar and you're having a club soda in your sangria, do it that way. With the brandy, I believe I had a stronger cigar. You know, I really think I had a stronger cigar, and it might have been a Sandria, not like a Sandrias, but it was that, or I'm gonna go back and see if I can find it. But the thing is do if you have the brandy and the triple sec and the sangria, you can definitely it will stand up to it. That stronger cigar.
I think so too. So I'm gonna let you answer this question from billionaire first, and then I'll answer it.
Mm. Do you have any current or past birthday traditions? My main one is Purple Rain Opus. That like that's a tradition that I smoke on that. Um, I usually do. My kids like to buy me. I've always done those little bud cakes or the that cake that's got the fruit on it, chantilly cake.
Right, right,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, for dinner, like so. This is my thing. Is like usually on the weekends I do like a brunch with my kids, with one of my kids, and then that night we have dinner. And I always do this mango Mexican dinner that they make for me. And we play Uno. I love Uno. So it's more about me spending time with my kiddos than anything. Uh, that's just kind of, and I usually spend time by myself. Mother's Day for me, usually I go out of town the weekend. I escape my children because like kids are shits on like Father's Day and Mother's Day. That's just point blank. They are little shits when it's your day. So I want to escape the little shits, even though they're grown ass shits now. And I usually spend the weekend away for Mother's Day. But on my birthday, I like to hang out with them and just chill and spend time with them. So I guess it's kind of like my tradition as I've gotten older. Normally, like we'll go out for brunch, we'll have mimosas
Yeah.
and brunch type food, and then we come home for dinner. They make the dinner, and then we play
For
and
me,
and I have mango. There's a mango drink that I drink. It's an alcoholic drink.
really, I would
hmm
have never guessed.
Yeah,
Um,
and by that, and that's my free pass to get drunk, and they take care of me. They're grown people, so don't judge. I have
I
grown ass
I
adult children that can take care of
I
their mommy.
I would have to say, billionaire, you were at the last birthday party that I had. That was where I was celebrated and felt celebrated, and that was my 50th birthday at Taboo. Um, my traditions are gone, since really since the divorce. The traditions that we had
hmm
of it. To me, fortunately or unfortunately, my birthday is just another day. Um, unfortunately, I've gone many times where nobody said anything. Now, that having been said, there is another guy at Underground whose birthday
hmm
is the same day as mine, and so we've tried to start we weren't able to do it this year, but we've tried to start a tradition over the past couple of years to where we get it together and meet up at the Underground on our birthday. And trade cigars. So I would say that that's a tradition. My kids celebrate my birthday for me, and I appreciate that, and I love them for that. But my kids are older than yours, and they've got their own lives now. So
But
you know,
but see, here's the thing: is when my kids were little, from when my kids were like babies up until they turned 18, I never celebrated my birthday. I didn't do anything. My kids as adult children, well, there's a couple years where they haven't, and like there's a couple years that they missed out, like for a couple years. And finally, I said, "Look here." I was like, "I've always celebrated y'all. I remembered you." I said, "I've done a lot for y'all. So look here. You need to do this for me." So I said, "This is what I want. This is what we're going to do for my." And it's just here been in the last couple years. It hasn't
yeah,
always been that way. And it was me saying, "Hey, look here. This is effed up because like it's just us. I need to be celebrated. I make sure that I do this and this. I make your favorite meal. I make you this. I do this." And I was like, "Y'all don't do shit for me. If you even remember to say happy birthday, that's a thing. So it wasn't until I announced that and kind of like said like I don't appreciate it. That's when my kids stepped in and started doing it. And so like and especially like Bug and I, we enjoy the Saturday brunch where we go
yeah,
out and we've kind of made it our own. So that's kind of like but before then when my kids were little, we couldn't. School started, I was back at work, and they were little and they really couldn't do anything. So that's kind of like for that. That's I'm gonna say that it was till they got older.
I I'm really appreciative of my kids. They both are now all three of them. With my son-in-law now. Um, they celebrate me. Wish me happy birthday. And they bought me tickets, and I really appreciate that. I mean, bought me a card or a present or
Hmm.
something. Father's Day, they're coming around. I went even when I was, still together with my ex. Father's Day just came and went like it was another day, just another day. But I don't need much to be celebrated. I'm not saying this to complain or, woe is me.
Hmm.
I'm happy with the way they celebrated with the way they celebrated me. I mean, I don't need a lot, you know.
Right.
Someone wishes me a happy birthday, I'm happy.
But I think
I
we have a new tradition. We have a new tradition because we've celebrated our birthdays on Twisted Pair this year.
We have, and I think we're going to continue doing this. Okay, so I want to start off the answer on this one because
I'm
I've
new to what?
actually
Rum.
he's new to
Okay.
rum. Any rum brand that pair well with Padron 64. Any suggestion? I've actually paired a couple of different rums with the 64, and I have to say my favorite pairing is actually the Diplomatico.
Hands down, Diplomatico. Hold on. I'm going to get another one. So I'm going to turn off like my camera so y'all don't see my booty. I know
I
y'all say,
could I could have just taken you off, but we'll look
"Eh,
at this white circle with a portrait.
isn't that beautiful? Because I'm going to show you a rum that is one of my favorites as I get situated here,
I,
which
and
is
and I'm going to feature your oh, I missed it. I was going to do a solo
fine.
layout. Oh, Flor de Clara.
So
Yes.
this one is like this. It actually have like Diplomatico like little box. Okay, so here's another thing I kind of want to talk about. I haven't even told this to you
Uh-oh.
because this last weekend I went stir crazy and celebrated my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to tequila tasting. See, you don't even know this. Well, I posted that I went
What?
to a tequila. I went to a
Yes.
tequila tasting, and oh my goodness, and the late, and this was funny because the lady said she looks at me. She goes, "You look very, very familiar," and she was like, "Are you a celebrity?" And I laughed, and I was like, "No, I'm not a celebrity."
Yes,
Well,
you are. Yes, you are.
so no, I'm not. Well,
Today
my
you are,
friend
ma'am.
today,
Today you are.
today I am a celebrity. So my friend was like, she's a influencer, and she's like, she has a pod, she's on two different podcasts, she has a business, and blah 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 blah. Come to find out, the lady follows me. That's how she recognized me.
Really?
And yeah, and
Wow.
she actually is like the main person for the tequila, her tequila, right? So don't worry, we're gonna get her on the show. We're gonna get tequila tasting. But we got the perk was we got a little bit more tequila than just a little tasting. Like you know how they give you like a little half a tasting. Well, then you get the big shot of tequila, right? So I had, oh my gosh, a jalapeno tequila, which I was like, dang, I don't have to make my own jalapeno sauce. But the best tequila, and I want to put it with a snow cone, okay, was a coconut tequila.
Interesting.
And then I was sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, with cigars, you could do a coconut tequila, you could do a jalapeno. And it wasn't like, they also had the Blanco, like all the other different main nice tequilas. So she gifted us a tequila sample pack and a tequila glass, and that was really fun. But before I went and had a flight of beer at Union Bear Brewery, then I had the tequila. But my whole point is I couldn't decide what drinks I wanted. So we got the little bottles or the nips, is
Yeah.
what we call them. And like I have, we did the Desert Soul, because
Yes, the Desert Sotal.
yeah, because like they had not had that before. Introduced like different whiskeys, Texas whiskeys, because they normally can't get that where they live. Um, and just like more of like Texas things because they hadn't had that. And then other things. Needless to say, uh, I had a Manhattan. Then after that, I had a beer and a couple of things. So I celebrated big on this weekend, but it was really fun for the tequila tasting for that. Um,
What
I had
was
fun
that
with that.
local to DFW, or did you travel for this?
It was local. Yeah.
Very, very, very
Yeah,
good. We
I'll fill you in on the details later. I'm not gonna let like people know my
please,
stuff.
please do, because
Yeah,
curious minds want to know.
yeah. So it was a great time. It was fun. It was very celebrated, and but I'm not a fan of Blanco tequila. I'm gonna say that right now. I'm just it's not for me. This was the best Blanco tequila I've had.
See
But
now I'm curious as to who it is because I know a few tequila brands here in the DFW area, and
well,
her Blanco is so good.
yeah, you know who it is. Probably. I guarantee you know who it is. They do cigar pairings too, like they tastings with the cigars and all that other stuff. And she's local, but she goes down to the factory and does that. And she comes up for the events. But had a great time. But like that was the first time I've ever really had like I'm gonna call it shelf jalapeno tequila and the coconut.
See now
Like
I'm really intrigued by that because I've
I
had.
just want to. And with ice,
Ooh, yes.
and
I've
I
had.
already had tequila earlier that day. It was just like, hello.
How much tequila did you have?
I had probably one and two, three, four, five, six of the good tasting.
Damn.
Uh, and then one that was at Union Bear, their top shelf tequila that they had out there. Then I had my flight. Then I had a big beer at the pool, and then I had a big thing of Manhattan.
Very nice. All right, last question of the night. Last question of the night.
Yes.
Flight
So
of beer and a cigar pairing. Good suggestion. Have done. So myself, yes, I have done. We've actually done. We've done a flight of beer and a cigar pairing on the show, if I remember right. I know we've done a number of different beers, but when I was because I at the time point in time I knew nothing about IPAs and wasn't a fan of what I had. I actually took some cigars, went to a uh, a brewery and did a flight of their IPAs
and I was
and
so proud of you. So proud of you.
paired the cigar and came back and now I'm an IPA of a double hop and triple hop IPA fan. Single hop still not there yet, but
You'll get there.
we're working on me.
Yeah. Um, Here's my thing. For me, for the hops, I really love Habano, um, Honduras, Dominican Republic. You know, I'm gonna go for those more of the cigars.
Candelas.
And like yes, Candelas. Uh, you want your lighter ones because you want that hay, you want that earthy notes because of the hops and the
Yes.
citrus notes.
If
So
if
if
you're
you
going
look up my,
stouts, if you're going
then
stouts,
you want a heavier cigar, more bolder for that. So if you like, I'm more of the beer drinker,
hmm
and so if you look at my page, there's some. We've even done articles about it, so check out our website. And then like view our past shows because we've done it there. So you're gonna have to
yeah.
research that answer, millionaire. I'm gonna make you go back and look.
Go back and watch our shows because we've done IPAs, we've done ales, and
We've
we've
done
done
stouts.
stouts. We've done a lot of number of different stouts with it. I used
Yeah.
to be really big into beers, and then when celiacs really kind of took over my life, I had to switch over and away from them, and so I haven't really been into beers for about the past, really 10 to 15 years, and it's moved
But
over
I'm a
to
bad
spirits.
influence on him.
One every now and then, or
Yeah.
a day of going out and hitting some different breweries
hmm
really is. Is it going to have an impact on me? Yes, but it's not going to have a major impact as if I
If
was
you were
drinking a
doing it every
beer
day,
every single day.
like me,
But that's why you focus on beers, and I
and that's
focus
why I have a beer
on the
belly.
spirits.
That's why I have a beer belly.
Well, I've been told I have a beer belly too. But anyways, um, great transition to a wrap up or reason to wrap up.
I didn't even get to smoke. This was my second cigar. I'm gonna have to hold it.
Oh, an opus. Oh no, that's not an opus.
It's a rare pink.
Oh, that okay, that is an opus. Rare pink. Okay, yeah, I can see the band better here. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
man, if I would have known you were doing that, I would have brought out
Fuente,
mine.
rare pink.
I would have brought
Fuente.
mine out. Yeah.
Yeah, I have
If
like five. I have six of these babies.
if
I
you
know you can't have them.
can't find the rare pink, then get the Hemingway short story.
Yeah.
It's the same blend. The difference between is the age, and
Oh, okay.
the opus has the media tempo in
Yep.
it. Outside of that, the rest of the blend is the same. But
Okay.
we're gonna come to you next week with a pairing. We don't know what that pairing is yet. We have got to talk about
Oh,
it.
our guest. Would you like to know who our guest is?
Our guest for the 30th? I do want to know who our guest is for the 30th.
Time Out Cigars.
I'm so glad you talked to Neil because I was going to reach out to Neil about him. So yes, thank
Yeah.
you for doing that.
You're welcome.
Well, so that's on the 30th, and you know who's following that on the 6th?
We have. Wait a minute. Drew Estate,
Drew Estate, Pedro,
and
VP.
then after that we have another guest.
But
I've got to double check.
you had better show up. Show up on all of the shows, please.
Yeah.
We need you. We
Because
want you. Thank you to all the people that have stuck out with us the
yes,
entire
thank
show
you. Thank you for
in
celebrating
celebration
me
of
on my
you.
birthday. Mwah! I appreciate y'all. And I
On
promise
the
I will get back to all the messages.
on the 6th, I sent you a picture of what we got to give away on the 6th.
Yes. And so yeah. And it,
We've got some swag to give away, and you're going to have to jump on the show and to stay on the show the entire 2 hour broadcast in
in
order
order to
to win. We're going to
the
have
swag.
three winners. Three winners for that. So that's on September 6th. The following Wednesday, we've got another guest. So we've got next week is going to be a pairing, and then the next 3 weeks after that, we've got guests on the
Mm,
show.
yes.
So lots of great stuff coming up.
Yes.
Again, she said thank you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. of coming on and helping celebrate somebody that is very, very special to me. She's my baby sister, one of my business partners. I've got two, one of my business partners, and one of the people that has helped make a dream of mine come to fruition. So you celebrating her means the world to me. So
I,
thank
I
you.
think I think every year we just need to have our birthday celebration. We just need to do that, carve out those time
Let's do it.
because we had a great time. We had steak with your birthday.
We had
You
steak with
know,
mine,
we had
yes.
steak, yeah, and like some
Sorry,
drink and everything. So
it's too damn hot
it's
to
too
eat
damn hot.
food.
I don't want to eat. Like I was super happy with my drink and my like because it's too. Even though it's not hot, it's in the like 90s, 80s right now.
I mean,
Um,
it's still 90 at
it's
9 o'clock.
yeah. I'm not like we said. I was like, I don't want to do food. You know it, and so I just appreciate y'all celebrating me. Come on, making these 2 hours just really fun. I feel very appreciated, and it was a beautiful thing. And it was funny because like they didn't at my work because I'm at a new place new school, they didn't know it was my birthday, and then they were saying something. They're like, "Can you stay?" And I was like, "No, I've got to go celebrate my birthday." And they're like, "What?" Like, because I didn't tell them because I had felt so celebrated by all the messages and everything. So thank you, everybody. I do appreciate it. I've looked at some of them, but due to work, we're adults, so we can't do that. I do appreciate that, and I appreciate everything that you've done to make it special, Graybeard. You've gone above and beyond all of the birthday banner, all the announcements, and the pairing and everything. So I appreciate you for celebrating with me.
Love you,
So
sister.
love you too. So
Uh,
thank you.
Until next week, explore the pairings.
There's something for everyone. Have a good night, y'all.
Good night, everyone.
Mwah.